Alrighty. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to special episode Lorcanarama. We have big news today. So here we are. I'm your co-host Kelsey, and with me is our other co-host.
Sabrina.
Hey, we got better on that one. There was no long pause like on Sunday.
We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure that one out. So, we decided that we were going to do a special episode tonight due to the fact that there was a major announcement or a major stream by Ravensburger. I would say major announcement. Some of the things were leaked and it kind of spoiled their fun, but I still think it was good. So I'm just going to ask Sabrina straight off, straight up, like, what did you think of the stream today? What are your first thoughts on it? Did you have a favorite part of it or any concerns out of it at all?
Favorite part, definitely hearing the word, I guess it's not a word, but the initials DLC actually mentioned was
Yeah.
nice, knowing that's on their radar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Learning a little bit more about Fabled, but I will say I wish the focus wouldn't have been so heavy on Fabled.
I know, right? I thought the same thing. I was like, boy, my first thought was they must not be really pleased with the Reign of Jafar set because all they keep talking about is Fable, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like they were just skipping past it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I am excited about Fabled. I think the artwork looks really
Yeah.
cool. I was surprised by how much of it is gonna be reprints, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I know that they did introduce that the new franchise that was coming into it. I can't remember which one it was. But anyway, since there was a new franchise, it made me think, well, not everything. The Goofy movie, right? That was supposed to
Yes,
be in Fabled,
yep.
right? Yeah. So that makes me think, well, at least not all of it's going to be reprints, So
No, I think the breakdown, I saw somebody in one of the groups break it down. It's 18 epics plus 108 reprints, like
yeah,
standard reprints. It's just over half the set.
yeah, I think I saw that too. Yep. Okay. Yeah. I
I
don't know
mean,
where they got those numbers from, but okay.
I don't either. Assuming they're correct, I think that I don't think that will be typical. I think that's their way of pushing cards that they want to stay in rotation into
Right.
rotation.
Right. I would agree with you on that. You just got to be careful. I guess if it's, I remember way back in the day on a card game that shall not be named, but I'll give you a time frame in the 90s. They had this bright idea that they were going to reprint some of the cards and they did a special set that it was nothing but reprints, and boy, that thing flopped. And it was reprints of like legendary characters and like cards that were pretty doggone good cards. And to this day, like only a couple cards from that set are worth anything. The original cards, some of them are skyrocketed, of course, but yeah. So speaking of skyrocketing, prices were tanking today on the first four sets. You know,
I don't think
so
that's very surprising. I think
yeah,
that people, I mean, especially if you don't foresee yourself playing much in the next 3 months, those cards are losing value for anybody that only
yep.
wants to play core constructed.
Yep. Yeah, I remember seeing that happening in other games where they have rotation and the cards that are rotating out all of a sudden those $40 cards when they go into the old environment are worth maybe $3. So
I think that's understandable, but also they made it clear that there is going to be an infinity format. So
right.
some of these cards, I mean, a good portion of the cards are going to be played at least for a few more sets, I would
Yep.
assume.
Well, until
Uh,
they go ahead.
oh no, you're good. Go ahead.
Well, I was just say, they were very clear that the competitive format is going to be the core constructed, right? The new sets, right? So prices are driven by what cards are winning big events for the most part. With a
Right.
few other things, right? So if there is no support, but they said there would be support at the DLCs for
I
Infinity,
felt
but
like their announcement was very confusing.
yeah, what was that?
The announcement about the formats was
Yeah,
very confusing to me
yeah, we can look at that
because
a little bit. Go ahead.
it sounded like they were saying they are only going to support core constructed, but then they were like, but we're going to also support Infinity.
Well, I think what they were saying, and when I heard it, what I heard was in like your main event for the DLCs, right? Your people are going to be playing core constructed. That's the format, the main event. But they're still going to support those others in like maybe other events at the DLC. Like maybe we'll have an Infinity tournament. It won't be our main event, but how they have all these side events at the DLCs, these big side tournaments and stuff that people can sign up for. And I imagine that that's probably what they meant by it. At least that's what I thought when I first heard it. So, you know, uh,
Also never know what stores will pop up. I mean, there's so many stores now running pretty well advertised 5Ks, 8Ks,
yeah,
10Ks. You don't know what will pop off as far as the Infinity format
yeah.
long
I
term.
I was pretty excited, and I hope to hear more about this. There was also an article out there with an interview with Elaine, who was on the stream, and Greg. Um, I'll have to link that article up. I have it favorited somewhere. But anyways, they talked a little bit about you know really trying to find these levels and tiers. Some of the stuff we've already talked about, right? You got your locals and you said championships, but they understand and they hear, hey, we need to fill in this void, and they do. They did talk about how stores are filling that void for them right now, and then there's of course the DLC level, and so they definitely are cognizant of that, and that's on their radar. And what they come up with, I don't know, but it's pretty neat to at least hear that. But one thing that I did hear that excited me is, like you said, you're happy to hear the words DLC, and then I heard right behind that later this year. Now, I don't know if that
Well,
was a slip of the tongue, but you know,
now I'm replaying that in my head because now
yeah,
I'm
go back and
questioning what
watch
I
that
heard.
because that was the first thing I heard out of that. It was like, when we do, DLCs later this year, and then he kind of like it was almost like he realized he wasn't supposed to say that.
Oh, okay. Well, I
Yeah,
thought what he said was they at Worlds on as part of the World stream, they would be announcing the DLC schedule
they did say that, but when he said
for
later
later
this
this
year,
year, I
it was
guess.
part of it. It was the same conversation, but it was a different context. So
That's
go back and
scary
listen
because
to it.
I
Go
was
back and listen. So and he said it twice. Because I think what he
that's
realized too was, well, that cat's out the bag. I just will not hide it. And he just said it kind of matter of factly. Cooper. It was Cooper that did it. But I'll go back and listen to it again. But I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. And so they were going to make an announcement at Worlds about it, but he did say later this year. So
I guess we will find out more at the end of June.
yeah,
It's so long to
yeah,
wait. It's crazy
just
to think that I mean,
yeah,
the first
just
DLC last year was almost exactly a year ago.
yeah, yep. Man, really?
Yeah, it was like May
I couldn't remember. I don't.
12th, I think.
They all bleed together for me now. Hmm. Yeah, I
I
don't remember.
remember because I conned Toby into staying in Atlanta for an extra day and taking me to the aquarium
I like that aquarium. It's nice. Did you
because it
get to
was my
walk?
birthday. It was a
I like
nice
that part where
surprise.
you walk under the fish. You get to look up.
Yes, if
That's
you
some cool
walk,
stuff. Yeah.
don't do the little motorized thing. I got so dizzy and almost fell.
Yeah. Yeah. I stay on the motorized thing because the first time I went there and tried to walk it, I walked into a little kid and I felt real bad. so, so now I ride it
We
every
are the
time.
opposite people in one of these. We are the opposite people.
Yeah, but so what I do here, I could pull up a couple things here. Let me switch screen here. So if you go to Lorcana's website, Ravensburger's website for Lorcana, they have all these announcements on here. Under their news page, there's like 4 articles popped up today. The first one just kind of re-highlighted, kind of went back over the stream today, and they talk a little bit about it. Here's my favorite part, and also my least favorite part, are these new rarities coming out a little bit later with Fabled. My favorite, because those are some pretty looking cards. My least favorite is just something else for me to be disappointed about not getting. So,
I mean, it's very reminiscent of that card game that shall not be named.
yes, exactly. So, the new rarities, we'll hit over that real quick. New rotation, set rotation, we'll hit that real quick. And then there was the Reign of Jafar, pretty packaging for it. I like all the red. That's pretty cool.
Packaging
Not my
looks
favorite
great.
color, but yeah. And then this was the thing that really excited me was this little starter set. You know, I love promos, but we have a person in our store that loves Tinkerbell, and I'm sure she's going to be tickled to death over his Tinkerbell promo. So that's pretty neat.
Toby was very excited about that Tinkerbell promo.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then this, which is the thing that has me most curious. So
Yeah.
this is the whole new world promo. Let me zoom in on this so maybe you can see a little bit better on the screen for folks here.
Oh, there's Toby in the chat talking about how that's his favorite promo.
Woo! Hey, Toby, how's it going, man? Um, yeah, that's what was neat about this was they said that it's right here. Stay tuned for details on how to obtain a non-foil whole new world promo card. So I am in tune. I want to hear this. Because I think this was supposed to be given out as participation at the World, kind of like their promo at Worlds, and I guess they've got them printed, right? So they got to do something with them. So somehow we'll get them. Not the foil versions; these are the non-foil versions, but still,
I'll
sweet
take
card.
any. That card is beautiful.
That is right. That's pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet right there. But yeah, that was pretty exciting too. And so I think this will also be part of that broadcast. The thing about the Worlds, like they say, stay tuned to the broadcast. You're like, which part? That thing is going to be like 8 to 10 hours. and I would,
right?
yeah.
You're like, I need a range here. Limit it down a little.
Yeah. Let me know which part. It's kind of like Super Bowl ads, right? You stay for the ads at the beginning and after the first quarter, all the ads stink, right? And you don't watch it the rest of it. So so maybe they'll, they have us wait until the end, but I don't know. So just to go through some of this, so they have an article up too about Jafar. Has a purpose. Now, I'm not going to go over the spoilers with us because we'll save those for Sunday, or for some other time. I mean, but if there's one that stood out to you, which there was one that stood out to me, by all means, just say something. I don't know. Have you seen all of them?
I think so, but I'm going to be honest. It was a little hard to track them all down to make sure
Yeah.
that I saw them.
Yeah, I got quite a few of them. They showed up on Facebook too. Here we go. Well, these are the ones that are come out from on the Ravensburger site, so nothing to hide here. See, these are all okay. Nothing too impressive. I think the Jasmine is pretty cool because it gives us a one drop Jasmine to shift onto, which they revealed a Jasmine that will shift for 2, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So there's that. These cards, they're part of the Reign of Jafar. I don't remember what the name of the box set is, but it's their new Illumineers quest. And this one they said is cooperative, but a little bit different. You're not fighting Jafar, so to speak. You're trying to heist a crown. So that was kind of neat. A neat concept. I do like these things. They're kind of nice.
I think these cards look really cool. I think they did a really good job encompassing Jafar in everything.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that. New storyboard cards. We can look at those a little bit later. Okay, so let's go. Here we go. Then they had Bambi. Bambi and his friends have arrived. Yay! There's Bambi.
I'm excited for Bambi. I think it's good that we're still introducing new IP into the game.
What was so funny is when I saw this, I go, "Oh, Sabrina got her owl. Wrong owl."
I did the same thing. I was like, "Oh my gosh, they listened," and then I was like, "No, that's not the right one."
I was like, "Oh yeah, same thing." I was like, "They listen to our podcast. They know." Wrong owl.
I saw it and I was getting ready to chat you and be like, "Oh my god, they listen," and then I was like, "No, that's not right."
So now, being the Emerald Amethyst players that we are, I honed in on this card right here. This Forest Duel. Let me zoom in on that one. Okay, zoom back out. There we go. 5 cost inkable amethyst card. Your characters gain Challenger 2, and when this character is banished in a challenge, return that card to your hand this turn. I love dropping a Cricky on a wide board. This gives me another option here. Now, Cricky can crest for 3 afterwards, but here I get my characters back, which is kind of cool. Sometimes with Cricky you lose them. But
I think getting the character back is a big upside on that card.
Yeah.
I do think that 5 costs could be a lot, especially because it's an action, not a song.
Yeah. Right.
But I do think that'll see some limited play for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Of course, being a 5 cost action, I thought the same thing. But then I'm like, at that point in the game, so this is the biggest problem with Emerald Amethyst that we have is that we don't really have sweepers, right? So we have to kind of go wide and figure out a way to pump everybody up and this, and then crash to your opponent. So,
That's the turn we tend to
yeah,
stall out at
yeah,
times.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it might show up. I don't know. Well, I'll give it a
I
run.
do
I'll try it. Go ahead.
I do really like the art of the Bambi and the
Yeah, yeah.
flower. I think they nailed the art on
Yep.
those.
And Flower was pretty cool too. What I liked about Flower was it was a 3-cost inkable card with 3/3 body, right? And that's normal, like what you're seeing, but it actually had a relevant ability. So, like a lot of times you folks would play the White Rose because it would gain the lore, but
Mhm.
this might be a little bit more relevant here, because you've got a way now to kind of thumb through your deck and find what you need on a critter that has a
Mod
relevant body at a decent cost, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
So, see, we're getting into spoilers, and I said I wouldn't do that, but so here we are.
We
Here we
make
go.
the rules.
What's that?
We make the rules.
That's right. We make the rules. Our rules, our podcast. All right, here we go. And then some more Duel Link cards that came out. Puppy Love. There we go. Finally got that 1-drop puppy that we've been needing for that puppy deck. So that's pretty good. A new Bolt. This lady is pretty sweet. And by the way, she is one of the promos. There we go. Let
Yeah,
me get that in
the
there.
lady's good. I don't know. The dual inks this set so far. I'm intrigued, but I guess I was hoping to see something a little bit different, and this seems like not very different.
What do you mean by different?
I feel like if I look at these Duel Link cards and I look at the Duel Link cards from Acacia's Island,
Hmm.
they're very like similar. The flavor, they're on the
Yeah.
same page. I guess I was hoping to see a little bit more of a shake up.
Well, I think they're trying to push archetypes, right? For like that lady card. I'm going to pull her back up. Wrong one. Nothing to see there, folks. Move along. All right. Let's see. Here we go. So now that lady, she is a 1-drop inkable 0/3. When you play this character, uh, when you play a character, this character gets +1 for this turn. Not bad, right? Or while this character has 3 power or more, she gets +2 lore. So she could potentially quest for 3. It's not very difficult because this deck already has some cards with support in it, to just throw some three power worth of support on her and just start flying, especially if it's on a bodyguard character with support,
Yeah, that's true too.
you know?
I think that Bolt is neat,
Yeah.
uh, but Brawl exists. So
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Oh, I can't tell you how many times can't play that card. Medusa will take care of it. So, yeah. Okay.
Brawl is the bane of my existence. I
Yeah.
won't be sad if the card rotates out.
I don't think it's going away anytime soon. Yeah. I think it's a staple, to be honest with you. Yeah, so I'll pull up the slideshow real quick. So here's some of the packaging for Jafar. Pretty sweet looking. They had a couple starter sets in there that they showed. Pretty sweet. And then they started talking about Fabled, and Fabled comes out in August. The thing that I liked about Fabled is I'm kind of a nostalgic person. I like the retro stuff and the nostalgia
Yeah.
feel. And I felt like the artwork that they revealed for that and even the packaging kind of gives you that idea. There's that artwork. The neat thing about the artwork too, we'll just go through and plow through this. So if you guys don't know, what they said Fable was going to be was essentially they showed a couple of cards, like you notice the stitch, and it has a 9 on it for set 9, which is Fable's set number. Yep, I agree with you, Toby. It's going to be a great set. But here they said that you can use your older versions, which is kind of cool. We kind of suspected that, you don't have to go and get these new ones, but basically this card's going to stay in the rotation. There was Stitch, the Big Tink, which we've already seen, and then Winnie the Pooh, Honey Wizard. It's great to see cards that aren't playable rotate in. That's good. We need those, right? And I hope that go ahead.
I was shocked when I saw that this card was, like, one of the first they're gonna
But
reprint. I'm like, "This card
I
wasn't good when we printed it."
I think this card is iconic for its art because Elaine said something about this. I think it was on that stream. It was like this card. She saw the art on this card, and this is what got her attracted to Lorcana. And I would agree. When I saw this card, I think it was set 3 when it came out, and I saw this ink, I was like, "Oh, this game's going to be awesome." You know, I already knew it was awesome by that time with those sets, but like to see what they were doing with the art and the characters, but then I was disappointed when it was vanilla. And I was like, they could have done more with this
Same,
card.
'cause they made, like, the playmat for it and
I know,
everything,
right?
and then it was just the most vanilla card ever.
Yep, yep,
There's a reason it has a whole product sweep. Yeah, because it's
mhm.
iconic.
Yeah,
I just wish
exactly.
it was iconic and playable.
They got to market it, right? And it did its job. It got somebody in, you know, it got a lane in. So you know that was it's iconic, right? But I look at it like this, like, you know, I see this card. Little kids will see this card that aren't afraid of bears, you know, or Winnie the Pooh. Some people are scared of, especially if they've seen these movies that come out lately. You know, but you know, so I would hope to. My hope is that when they do rotation, and they kind of alluded to this, but not specifically this. They've alluded to the fact that they're playing around with new formats that they're going to reveal to us soon. And they, you know, they're basically they're exploring anything. And so I'm hoping that, you know, cards like this, you know, this is really good in a limited format. This card is freaking awesome. It was a beast, you know. But so, anyways,
He's a
but
big boy.
yeah, the cool thing about this, hold on, I'm gonna go to the next one, right? Is it gets an enchanted version in Fabled, and that is some
And its
sweet
art
looking
is
art.
insanely good.
Yeah,
But again, I find myself asking why.
it's they marketability, right? Yeah, it's
I
marketable.
mean, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna own one of these,
Yeah, exactly,
but
right.
I will ask myself why.
It's like you ever go to a concert, right? And you've been sitting there and you're waiting for the band to come on stage. Do they ever play their best song first? No.
No,
They know that you're happy to hear
last song.
anything they play, so they'll play whatever. And that's what I think this is. You know,
I think
but
this art is one of the coolest enchanted
it
arts I've
is.
seen, though, if I'm gonna be honest. Like, I think
Yep.
they changed it enough that it looks very different, but they kept the key components that
Yep.
it's still recognizable. I love it, and I
Yep.
love especially, like, the honey swoops at the bottom of the card, like, that looks like honey.
Yes.
Incredible. I will
Hey,
own one.
I never noticed that the card type on there says honey. Was that on the original card?
I was wondering that. I should have one sitting around here, but I don't know where.
I got to go back and look. Hmm. Interesting.
Not for the players, it's for the collectors. This will be worth a pretty penny. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's an element we don't really talk about a lot or haven't
Not
talked about a
yet.
lot yet, collecting aspect.
Yeah. Well, also too, this every one of these aspects on this card, right? Every one of these subtypes is a design space area that can be played around with. You know,
Right.
they haven't even hit those yet, but I'm curious. That's the only honey in the game right now. So I don't know. Maybe Piglet will have one. So, but anyways, I will say this though. Looking at this and looking at the Mickey art and all that, like the
Oh,
artists,
honey is newly added.
is it? Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's
Cool.
interesting.
So the artists that they have gotten and the artwork for this game is top level. I don't think I thought Pokemon was kind of cool. Its artwork. There was this point when Magic, I said it. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. There was a point where the other games, its art was kind of cool too. And then it got more into the fancy realm, which I understand. That's what the game's about, you know. And Pokemon is kind of cool. I always like the colorful aspect of Pokemon, but man, as a Lorcana, like my hat is off to Shane and all those people, all those artists that have gone out there, the creative team, and have done what they have done with the artwork on these cards. It's amazing. It's amazing. Even if the game crashes and burns, which I doubt it will, these are still going to be beautiful cards. You know.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, they're amazing. So they also announced that the set championship promo for Fabled would be Maleficent, different art. Of course, this is the foil version for the top cut. There was a regular version. I don't think I have it. Oh, there it is. So there's the regular version for it, which is kind of neat. These are promo cards, which I guess that means Maleficent will be one of the reprints in that set too. So yeah.
Not necessarily. Because they did like Ursula was the set champ card after Ursula was printed, wasn't it? Wasn't it a full set later?
I don't know.
Because like they didn't start set champs with set one.
Mm-hmm.
So like Stitch wasn't the set one store champ card.
I don't know. I got to go back and look.
I don't know. But
I get
actually,
confused.
we do know. It says
Yeah.
9 at the bottom.
Yeah. Well, that's what I go by. So,
yeah.
But I also like those Ursula. There were 2 big Ursulas that were printed like back-to-back sets, and I got them confused. So which one was in which set? Okay. I know which one's the best one, and I play with, but so
what do you think of the Maleficent Dragon, the top cut one?
That one?
The shiny one. This one, yeah.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I won't say they all look the same, but they've created a high standard for me, and it just looks like a normal promo. So
it reminds me very strongly of the Dragon's Breath.
Ooh.
Dragonfire, not
Dragonfire.
Dragonfire.
I need to go find that and look at it now.
I think that like when I looked at it, I was like, wasn't this the DLC promo? Like, don't I have these?
And yeah, like, oh, I think it comes the other way. It turns the other way. I think the fire's coming out the other direction.
I mean, it's obviously like slightly different, but I think it's giving Dragonfire.
Yeah.
Hey, Deadpool.
Hey. All right. Welcome. Hey, I got to say this because we're streamers now. If you haven't clicked that like and subscribe button, then go ahead and do it. So there you go. I did the plug. Hey, that's like the second time I've done that in 8 episodes.
So, Dan would be so proud of you.
I know, right? I learned. So I got to tell you this. So we were at work today. We were at a meeting. It was like 400 people on a Teams call. And somebody was closing up their part and, closed off almost like they were trying to convince us to subscribe. And we were like, what the heck was that? This is a work meeting. Did he forget where he was? Oh, my gosh. Yeah. It's funny.
When worlds collide.
Yeah. So, okay. So also as part of Fable, they revealed the new rarity type, which we kind of alluded to already. 2 new rarity types. And if you look at it, you got the epic rarity, which is somewhere in between the legendary and the enchanted as far as the frequency. It's going to be harder to get than the legendaries, but less than the enchanted. My guess is there will probably be 1 epic per box. That's because I think you run it. Yeah, you probably run 3 to 4 legendaries. But I think what happens now is that it takes that legendary slot, maybe, so I don't know. That's just my guess anyways, because you roughly get 1 enchanted per case. That seems to be about the way to go. Then you got this iconic, which we're not sure what that, we just know it's going to be harder to get than the enchanted. But the neat thing is they said there's only 2 for this set. And
I did think that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's the Mickey and the Minnie, which is the artwork that we saw. And so, and so one of the epic rarities was basically reprints of cards. And what I thought was neat was when she said it's artwork that already exists, and then she said for now, or something along that lines. Yeah. It's almost like she knows, like, just for now, it's like that, but so hopefully alternate art versions of those will be coming in the future as well. But I'm happy because another Elsa for me to get for my daughter. So I got to get that. So, but anyway, so I like this frame. I like this full art frame. It reminds me of that D100 set, the frames that they had on that where the
Yeah.
artist signed. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I
Um,
really like it. I think it looks good. I think it's an appropriate rarity to be, like, excited to pull one, but not, it's not quite the chase of an enchanted,
yeah,
which I think is fine. I think the
yeah,
artwork is beautiful, but I think that can be said about 99% of the cards that we're gonna look at.
right, right.
Uh,
Yep.
but no, I'm excited. I think this is a cool addition.
I think so
I'm
too. Yeah. Go ahead.
interested in Iconic, but skeptical, if I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest.
What I
But
like,
it's
what I really like is that they put they cut it off at legendary, right? That says here's the cards that you don't have to chase anything above legendary rarity in order to get 4 for your deck, unless you want that alternate art version of it, right? But no cards are going to be hiding behind this wall of rarity that's like near impossible to obtain,
right,
and so that's good. I'm glad
making
they're
it
sticking to
accessible.
that. Yeah. So, but here's the iconic one, and my hope is that I get to watch a little kid pull this in our store and not realize what they have and watch all the adults freak out over it. That's what I want
That
to
would
see,
be great.
you know,
That'll be great.
you know, or Jacob if he's listening in our store. We got a guy in our store that he's cursed with enchantments. You don't let him touch your packs. So I'd like to see
I
him
think
get it.
Toby has opened 1 in all of the packs that he's opened.
Which one was it?
It's crazy. It is, Tobe, which one did you open? I can't even remember. I think it was at least a good one. He got
Uh,
Ariel's
Ariel.
Grotto. Not a good one.
It had Ariel in it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. The first enchanted I pulled, actually, my daughter opened it up. We had gone to Barnes and Noble. It was chapter 1, and I found a couple packs of Barnes and Noble back when they were scarce. And my daughter was in the living room, and she just ripped, had the pack open. She was sitting there, blah 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 blah, and I caught the shine out the corner of my eye, and it was the purple Mickey from the first set. So
Love that.
it was pretty cool. So so
I think
yeah.
I opened the Genie from the first set.
Oh, I need that one. That's the one I need.
That one is long gone.
I
You gotta tell me what you need so I can keep track from now on.
yeah. So my goal is I want to finish all of the chapter 1 enchantments. I'm missing 4. So I need Genie, Maui, Simba, and Purple Mickey. One that, evidently, what happened to the purple one that my daughter pulled. So,
Oh, Toby's right. He did open one other one. He opened the
oh yeah.
Jasmine that was in the pack he proposed with.
Okay. Was it
But
a
I
real one
count
or was
that
it
as
a
not.
seeded one?
No, it was real. He saved the pack.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Um, yeah. Okay, let's not go there. All right. For those of you in chat under 18, please ignore what was just said. So, all right. Okay. Okay. So the next set coming out after that, after the Fabled set coming in Q4, which will probably be pre-release November, December, big store release or release, however they're doing the release now. Whispers in the Well. Not much was really revealed about that, other than a couple new franchises for it. I don't have the artwork here, but Darkwing Duck was one of them. So we got that. And so with that comes the set rotation, which we talked about earlier. So if you didn't hear this, the way the set rotation works, and Ryan Miller came on in a pre-recorded message. Well, it was all pre-recorded, but he was recorded earlier than what they did their thing today. Basically said that their intention right now is to rotate every year. And that may change. They didn't commit themselves to it, but I like when people use the word our intentions are. That's telling you that it may change, but
This is what we're giving a shot for now.
right. And so the first 4 chapters, first 4 sets will rotate out when Fabled comes out. So when Fabled hits, the others will rotate out, and that's why Fable, of course, is going to be, it appears that they'll have the reprints in them. So from the first 4 chapters, so we don't know what's going to be um, done. But one thing that I noticed and was curious about, and maybe somebody will answer this question for us, is Hiram was banned for the constructed format. Does that mean Hiram is banned in the Infinity format? Is that what they called it? The Inkfinity format? I can't remember
The
what they
Infinity
called it.
format.
Yeah.
I assume they're gonna have to specify that at a later date. I know
Yeah.
other games with multiple formats have different
Different ban lists.
ban
Yeah.
lists.
Yeah. Yeah. I was curious. So I think that their
Yeah, it'll be
intention with
interesting
that
to see how
format
they
is that,
address it.
go ahead.
Oh, it'll be interesting to see how they address that
Yeah.
'cause they can kinda pick however they want to.
Right. I think their intention with that format is that you play with whatever you got. That's and until that becomes like part of like what's the word I'm looking for? An official tournament format, because they did say core constructed will be the format for set champs and the DLCs, right? So they're very clear about that. But these other, this other format, I guess everything's fair game. So kind of cool. So yeah, so here's how the sets go and they rotate in and out. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the now that's not everything they talked about today, but those were the highlights from it. So my favorite part about it, honestly, um, was the overall thing. What there was excitement. Like maybe it's like if you don't give a kid candy for a year and you tell him you're going to give him candy, that kid's going to freak out waiting for that candy, right? So, maybe that's what the excitement was for. But honestly, my hat's off to Greg Tito, who he brought an energy and an excitement that I think is perfect for the role that he's in. You have Elaine who came on and she's the marketing manager and she talked a lot about you know stepping into that role. And again, I need to find that article and link it. It's a good article talking about because I remember this having worked at the DLCs. Um, I know that there was one person who pretty much put together all of the competitive play stuff. They did it kind of like in a response to community, to the excitement of the community and outcry from the community. Hey, we need something, and they did it, and it was doggone good considering that they kind of like I'm going to use the word winged it, which they did. They put it together. It makes it sound like they didn't do a good job. They did an amazing job, which is why I'm saying it. But one person really was the one kind of organizing that and putting all the, I say one person at Ravensburger. They got the right company and PPG events to host those things and put it on. They learned and it grew as they went along. Now Ravensburger has many people involved and they're kind of taking it on themselves. So, that's kind of neat, to see them understand that this game is way more popular than what we anticipated. Although I wouldn't know why they wouldn't anticipate it would be popular. They had a good game and it's Disney,
Right,
but
right.
it's pretty cool. So to me, the whole like I feel like we did take it to the next level, right? Ravensburger has leveled up. They've got new people, in doing the stuff. They've got more people. We got more sets coming out, and so I can accept that. Even if I didn't accept that, I'd have to anyway. So, but it's I think they did well. So that to me was my favorite part, was just that overall, like I really feel like they took the next step.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, super excited that they mentioned DLCs. At least we know that that's back, that it is on their radar. It's something they're
Yeah.
going to announce soon. And at least we have a date for when they're going to announce it, which I also think is really important because
Yes.
we've been so skeptical about it for so long.
Yeah.
I do just wish they had talked a little bit more, like I said, about Reign of Jafar and a little bit
Yeah.
less about Fabled. Like, give us a little bit more about this one before we
Yeah.
jump to the next one. But
I
overall, I thought it was really good.
I saw a post that they're talking, they're going to have weekly streams out of that. They got that room set up, right? So
I
maybe
saw
they're
that.
saving the Reign of Jafar stuff for these weekly streams and stuff, really hyping the setup. That was where when I saw that post, I go, okay, what are they going to talk about here? They're probably going to talk about their new set that's coming out, and that'll get them through the release of that set. And then what do you do after that? Because there's even content creators know there's like this dead space time, right, in between reveals and the next set. The
Yep.
set's released and the next set. You kind of got the reshaping of the meta to keep you occupied for a bit. But if there hadn't been a hiring ban, what would we have talked about for the last month? So
Who knows?
yeah,
That would have
right.
got real stale.
Right. And so, so I think that's neat. I think that's, they're just saving that for that stuff. And they did release the schedule for reveals. If you haven't seen that, that's floating around on Facebook when the content creators will start revealing cards. So that'll be
Starts
coming
tomorrow.
What's that?
Starts tomorrow.
Yep. Tomorrow through Sunday. So
Yep.
we got to figure out how we got to get on that
Well,
list.
that is the goal, but we'll have a lot to talk about Sunday with all those spoilers.
Yeah,
So
yeah. We'll
that's
get them
exciting.
together. We'll figure out a way to do it. We'll do our tier list once they're all revealed. So, but anyway, so any closing thoughts for us today? Anything that we take from
Just
this?
excited. I'm just excited. Biggest takeaway actually is very minor, and that is that they are doing something to change the way they communicate with the
Yeah.
players
Yep.
with
Yep.
those weekly podcasts. I mean, like I said, like we said, we don't know what they're planning to talk about on it, but they
Right.
see that communication is a sore spot and are actively doing something to change it. And I think that is really good for the game and for the community. So love to see it.
Yeah. I wonder with everything that they brought out today. They were sitting on it for a bit. And I wonder like at what point. And we may never know this. It's just me wondering. At one point, did they realize, man, Worlds is not going to be what we wanted it to be? What do we do? How do we move forward with this? You know, and at what point did they find out? Because I'm pretty sure that at some point they came to the conclusion we can't pull this off. And
I agree.
and so at that point, you're left scrambling to, well, we got a lot of people that are going to be mad. We got to give them something, and I think that if things hadn't have been leaked, there would have been a whole lot more excitement today for everything. There'd have been a lot more people fussing today too. At least they got all the fussing out last week before this. So,
Yeah, I
so,
think it left room, even if it was less excitement, it was just excitement, which I think is
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm pretty okay with it. I'm really excited about I'm going to call it, for lack of a better term, the play circuit, what they come up with for the different levels of gameplay. You got
Yeah.
your weekly events at your locals, and you got your DLCs. What's coming in between that? You got your set champs. What's coming in between that? That's something that I'm really excited about, especially being somebody who I just want to attend those events and work as a judge. Give back to the community that way. Just talk with people. And I'm just excited to have those opportunities in a more official capacity. Maybe I'll be a judge. Maybe I'll just go as a content creator. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But it'd
Why
just
not
be
both?
neat to have those. Yeah. Why not both? Right. Well, I'll tell you why not both, because when I get there and I'm working as a judge, I feel like I owe my time to whoever is employing me as a judge. So I can't.
That's fair, but I meant
Yeah.
like sometimes you're a judge, sometimes you're a content creator. Best of
Yeah.
both worlds.
When I'm on my bathroom break, I'll be a content creator or on my lunch break.
There you go.
So, so yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I'm actually excited about the opportunity possibly to go to Fort Worth. I did, like I said before, I talked a lot of crap that I wouldn't go, and then I got to thinking about it. And I go, Kelsey, this is like, if there's not going to be a DLC, this is it. And PPG, I know them, I trust them. So they know me, so hopefully they can trust me. so I applied, and speaking of that, in 2 weeks on our podcast, I don't know if I told you this yet, Stephen Abbott is going to come on. So
You did. You did
yeah,
tell me that. That's
yeah,
exciting.
Yeah, so he's well, I say in 2 weeks. We tentatively set in. I'm using that word tentative. Our intentions are that we're going to have him on the 18th. I think that's the day. Yeah, the 18th. And he's on a trip to Europe, and when he comes back from that, so we'll see. I'm excited about that. I wanted to talk to him for a long time, anyways. I really I appreciate his character and his personality. Having worked with him at the DLCs, he's a stand-up guy, and to get that opportunity to somebody that that company is really pushing the envelope, trying to create this circuit for Lorcana,
Yeah.
so that'd be pretty neat to just get his thoughts on that and give them a chance to plug that and put that out there before everybody. So. Um, well, that's all I've got for today. I think it was an eventful day. I think it was an exciting day.
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking the time to come on and chit chat with me about it. So,
Always.
for the folks who are listening, thank you for joining us for this special episode. We will be back on Sunday. It is Mother's Day. Do not forget that. I better not forget it. And we will hopefully see you on Sunday, and enjoy spoiler season. And hopefully there'll be lots of good Emerald Amethyst cards coming out. Oh yeah, Legendary Rapunzel. That's the one. You got to look at that one if you haven't seen it.
Oh, that card looks
Yep,
insane.
yep, yep. That's it. That's the one. We're save that one for Sunday, right? We're going to
Yeah.
highlight that one on
We'll
Sunday.
dive deep on Sunday.
Yep. So, all right, folks, you all have a good week. Enjoy spoiler season, the beginning of it. And hopefully, you enjoy the excitement that was created today by Ravensburger. Go out, get on Facebook. There's lots of stuff out there. People putting posts up everywhere. We didn't cover it all. And what you don't find, we'll try and get most of it on. We'll try and get most of the cards that are revealed on Sunday for everybody. So until then, have a great week.
Bye, guys.